In my last video, we talked about how to get started on your healing journey. Let's take that next step. Hello people of the internet, my name is Mags, and today we're talking about how to gear yourself as a healer. We'll be going over armor, weapons, perks, gems, and jewelry. Without further ado, let's get into the video. Gear in New World is the grind of a lifetime. It's both frustrating and rewarding at the same time. For healers, it's more frustrating than anything. There aren't many world drops that we can benefit from, and the best in slot gear for us is going to come from endgame dungeons. Before we even get there, there is a watermark grind that will keep us from getting that perfect rolled loot. So while we're on our journey, we can at least make this a little less painful by gearing ourselves with the best that we can get. And that starts with armor. Armor in New World has 3 weight categories: light, medium, and heavy. These sets have different bonuses depending on their weights. For light armor, you'll receive a 20% bonus to damage and healing output. For medium armor, you will receive a 10% bonus to damage and healing output, as well as a 10% duration to buffs on crowd control abilities. Finally, for heavy armor, you will receive a 20% buff to crowd control abilities. Like the weight suggests, the heavier the armor you wear, the more resistance that armor has to both physical and elemental damage. Currently, as I'm making this video, there are issues with the healing bonus given for wearing light and medium armor. They just don't work. The damage bonus is proccing, but the healing output is the same. So for the time being, and to be honest, even if they fix it, I will never recommend healers to wear light armor. It's a great way to get one shot in endgame, and in PvP, you might as well forget about staying alive. For our other options, we're going to want medium or heavy armor. For medium, you're going to want to max out the weight in that class so you can have the most protection. This can be done by wearing a heavy chest and helmet, pairing it with medium gloves and boots, and then finally having light pants. Even though medium armor isn't going to help your healing output that much, it will give you that third dodge. This is so that you can have more uptime on your Ben Light passive and still have some stamina left over to proc an iframe if you need it. If you want to be a Giga Chad while healing, max heavy is where you're going to want to be at. Once they fix healing output, I would probably stick with max medium armor, as that's going to be the best middle ground for you, but if you want to stay as thick as possible, wearing heavy isn't a bad way to go, considering all the bonus healing we already have from perks, passives, and the like. Now for armor types, New World has an affix system that categorizes its armor. This system allows you to know at a glance what the main stat and substat of a piece of armor is. Most of these are going to be a 60-40 split. So for your healing builds, I'm going to recommend that you keep your eye out for gear that has the affix of the Cleric for a Focus Constitution stat split, with Focus being the main stat. You'll want of the Sentry for a full Constitution roll, or of the Nomad for a Constitution Focus split, with Constitution as the main stat. Since we're going to be sinking points into Focus while we're leveling, we'll need to use our armor to supplement our health pool. This means we can be pretty open about the armor stats to fill what we need. For perks that we should keep our eye out for both PvE and PvP, there are only a small handful that you really want to make sure are slotted in your build. For armor, this is going to be a perk called Fortifying Sacred Ground. This will apply Fortified when anybody is healed within Sacred Ground, and this buff will refresh as people take damage and then get healed again, meaning that it is a 100% uptime for people within Sacred Ground. This is huge for people in wars, open world PvP, outpost rush, large world bosses, and dungeons. Outside of the armor perks, there are certain perks that you're going to want on your life staff. Of these, the number 1 S+ tier perk is actually going to be Blessed. Blessed is going to give you a bonus percentage to your healing output, and lucky for us, it comes on the 2 highest life staffs from the faction vendors. Outside of Blessed, you're going to want to try and find a life staff with Refreshing Move. This is going to reduce your cooldowns while using your light attack, and this does stack with your passive Revitalize, giving you virtually unlimited uptime on your Sacred Ground. For life staff recommendations, specifically while you are leveling, just use whatever you can get your hands on at the time. This is because as you get to the higher levels in your faction, you're going to 100% want to buy the life staff that they sell. This is because it comes with all focus as its attributes, as well as both of the perks that I have mentioned, Blessed and Refreshing Move. These will carry you through your level 60 watermark grind until you can get your hands on a better one. If you're looking to world grind for a staff and you want to get one ASAP, I would recommend farming for the Giver's Green Gift, which is a staff that can drop off a named mob in the Lonely Climb up in Shattered Mountain. This also is a great place to farm out those early days of your watermark. This particular staff, though, comes with Blessed and Siphoning Blow, which is a great perk combo for keeping your mana topped off. Outside of the world grind, truthfully, the best in slot life staff is going to come from either of the last two dungeons, both of which you won't want to farm until your watermark is high enough. The first of these is Will of the Ancients from the Lazarus Instrumentality. This staff comes with Blessed and Refreshing Move on anything below 600 gear score, making it easily the best staff to get in the game. And if you're high enough, the 600 legendary version will come with Refreshing, which will further reduce your cooldowns. The second one I would try for is the Higher Purpose, which is a drop from the first boss in the Garden of Genesis. This staff comes with Blessed and Keenly Fortified, which is another good perk to get, but not as good as the Lazarus one. For our life staff in its gem slot, you are always going to want a diamond. That diamond is going to massively increase your healing output, and it literally is the only thing that you should use and the only thing that really benefits us in our healer builds. For your offhands, ordinarily, I would suggest using an Amber Gem. This is because Amber Gems will convert some of your damage to nature and then scale off of your focus stat. But Amber Gems are bugged right now. This is a super highly debated issue on whether it's a tooltip misprint or if the gem scaling really is messed up, but in the future, if you are watching this and it is fixed, all of your offhand weapons should have an Amber Gem in them to help scale up some of your DPS. For the time being though, if you're watching this video sometime close to when it's published, stick to the cut flawed Amber Gems, those are like the tier 2 gems, to keep your DPS optimal with your offhand. Again, it has to do with some weird scaling stuff. I want to talk about it more when I make my offhand video for healers, but for right now, just kind of stick to this. For jewelry. Jewelry in New World is a tricky one because there really aren't many places where you can consistently get drops to up your watermark. Most likely you'll end up crafting all of your pieces for endgame, but that doesn't mean we can't get a few pieces along the way. For your jewelry, at least in the world drop pool, we can snag a few if we're lucky. For anything else, we're going to want to stick to some standout perks. For our rings, they have a chance to drop with the perk Sacred. This is going to give you a percentage increase to your healing. While you are leveling through the game, there are actually 2 rings that are very good to get, especially if you're around level 40, level 50. Those are going to be the Memory of Stephen and the Memory of Alec. Both of these are going to come from Stephen's claim in Morningdale, and they're going to be drops from, well, either Stephen or Alex. Both of them manage to come with Sacred and have some pretty good substats, so if you are under the level 60 range, these are definitely great ones to farm out, and they're relatively easy to get. For our endgame though, there are 2 standout rings that you'll probably be able to get while you are grinding for your watermark. The first is the Silver Leaf, and this one is going to be available from the elites in the Eternal Pool, including that final weird tentacle boss inside the Eternal Pool as well. The route is pretty easy to get there, and if you have a group, you guys could considerably farm that area, both for gear score and for this particular ring. As a second ring, the Archmagister's Piscatory ring, which is actually the one that I have, drops off the elite priest in Murkgard. So again, while you are grinding for your gear score, be on the lookout for this particular ring because chances are you all are going to be farming these areas a lot. For our amulets, anything with health on it or incoming healing is going to be the way to go. I would definitely crutch on the Infinity Crystal until you can craft something better with focus. A great perk combo would be something with more health and probably fortified recovery for the boost to survivability. Other than those, the only other amulet I can recommend is the one that drops from the final boss in Garden of Genesis, which has both of those perks as well as focus as its main stat. Finally, let's talk about earrings. For your earring, you're going to want to shop around for ones with perks that reduce cooldowns, help generate mana, or you can look for one that has a potion cooldown mechanic. There are a ton in this game that fit this criteria, and that should also fit your needs. These are going to include the earring from Dynasty Shipyards, the Ill-Gotten Gain, which is an easy one to farm out, and the Earring of the Hallowed Soul, which actually comes from Baines, the boss out in Malevolence in Eden's Grove, another world boss that you should probably be grinding out while you are trying to climb your gear score. All of these have general stats and perks that can benefit any healing build. But while farming jewelry is an option, just note, like I said earlier, that jewelry drops are some of the hardest to obtain in New World and require hours, nay days, to raise your watermark for them. For this reason, I would befriend your local jewelry crafter and work on making your best in slot jewelry. Trust me, it's gonna cost you a mint, but it's well worth it at the end. All in all, I gotta say, the gear grind for healers, specifically in that endgame area, while it seems very free, the best in slot action is kind of murky. Outside of the life staffs, which you definitely are gonna want something like Will of the Ancients, everything else is going to be down to RNG and trying to get specific pieces that are gonna fit you out depending on what you want, and also the skills that you are running. Like if I'm going to get something that has a perk that helps my Light's Embrace, say I want to add more haste to it, or if I use Divine Embrace and I want the extra cooldown on Divine Embrace. All of those things are factors that you're going to have to think of when you are trying to kit yourself out towards the end game. So use this video as a loose guide to try and find your best in slot combo, and also look at some of the perks that can drop on those specific pieces of armor, because as it starts getting later and later into endgame, because there's not a cleric's set that we can go get, there are going to be pieces that we're going to have to craft while we're working together with, let's say, a master armorer that's on your server, or if you are the master armorer, there are going to be pieces and kind of those perk craft mods that you're going to want to be looking out for to make sure that you can try and get your best in slot gear. If I have missed anything in this video and you have other tips, if you are a healer and you have some great gear recommendations, whether they be world drops or whether they be craft mods that people should be looking out for, make sure to post them in the comments section below. Let's go ahead and get a conversation started about what we all as healers should be looking for in game. With that, we are at the end of the video. If you enjoyed the video, leaving a like really helps me out. But as always, I'm Megs, and I will see you in the next one.